This is Miss J. I hope you guys are all healthy and taking care of yourselves. Spending lots of good family time. I'm going to show you today how to do tessellation. This is something we do in 7th grade math. It is a math thing, but it's also an artsy thing, which Mrs. J loves. You are going to need some materials, possibly a ruler, for sure a pencil, an outlining pen, remember no Sharpie, scissors, some heavier paper, white paper. If you don't have cardstock paper, regular white paper is fine. Some tape and some colored pencils. The first thing that you'll be doing is you'll be taking your cardstock paper and you're going to cut out either a 2x2 piece of a 2x2 square or a 3x3 square, 2 inches by 2 inches or 3 inches by 3 inches. I am going to use the 3 inch by 3 inch square. On the bottom side of your square, you're going to draw a design. It can be any old design that you want. Just don't go past like the halfway point up there. So you can make it pretty tall if you want. You're going to do that on the bottom side. You're also going to make a design on the left side of the paper. And again, it can look any old way that you want it to. I got to make that probably a little bit more down like that. Here we go. So now I have my two designs drawn. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the bottom design and I'm going to cut out the left side design. And here's what that will look like when I'm done. So I've cut the bottom out and I've cut the left side out. Okay, next thing you are going to do is you are going to slide your bottom up to your top so that you're lining up. When you drew your design to start with, you made sure that you went corner to corner. So I'm going to match up corner to corner when I put it up on top. And I'm going to take my left side and slide it over to my right side, again, corner to corner, and then lining it up corner to corner. And then that's where your tape will come in. You'll put a piece of tape across here and a piece of tape across there. And so my final design ended up looking like, where is my final design? Right here. So this is what my final design ended up looking like once I had it all taped together. So there was my bottom, moved up to my top, my left side moved over to my right side, and now I have it all taped together, okay? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tessellate that, which means that I'm going to take one single design and move it across my paper. We are doing a translation tessellation, which is just a slide, not a rotation, not a reflection, just a slide. So I'm going to take a plain piece of paper. Again, I have cardstock paper. It seems to work the best. I am going to line up to make sure I get a nice straight line. I'm going to line up the top of my square with the top of my paper, and then that will give me a reference point. I'm going to line that up right there so that tip is always going to be on the top of my paper, okay? And then I am going to trace around it, my whole design, and that's what it will look like once you're done tracing around it. Then I'm going to slide my design over. I'm going to fit it in. And again, I'm going to line up that top point there with the top of my paper so I keep a nice straight line. And I will trace around that. Okay, and so I got this. Oops, a little piece of tape there. Okay, and then I will move it one more time and trace around that. And depending on how big my paper is, will depend on how many tessellations I get. That's why you might want to use the 2x2 instead of the 3x3 so you can get more tessellations. Then when I go down to the next row, I am going to just fit that right in there to that slot. And I am going to line up these points here so that I get a nice straight tessellation. Tracing. Oops, gotta do that outside, forgot to do the outside. Okay. And then once you get your whole paper filled up, you can kind of decide what your design looked like. When I looked at this design, I kind of thought of a stingray. Okay, here's that long pointy tail. So I might make this design look like a stingray. Okay, and then I would color it in. Here's what that would look like. I made a couple up already so that we could speed this process along. This was the first one that I made. And here is what what I started out with. So here was the bottom of my square. I made a design, moved it up to the top. Here was the left side of my square, cut it out, moved it over to the right. And I thought, what does this look like? And to me, it kind of looked like a neat little fish. So I again put this on my paper, traced it, traced it, traced it, moved it down, trace, trace. Okay, and do that until my whole paper is filled up. And then I decided that I wanted to add detail. That's what you're gonna do next with your black liner. You'll add detail into your tessellation. Again, I thought it looked like a little fish. I used my colored pencils to do some shading. Maybe it didn't look like a fish. Maybe I decided it was gonna look like some weird dancer person, right? So maybe that's what I make my design look like. The key is keep your design consistent. If you choose a fish, all of them look like a fish. If you choose the weird dancer lady, they all look like the weird dancer lady, okay? That's with a 3x3 design. I also made an example to show you the 2x2 design, okay? And that looked like that looked like this. So that was my 2x2 square. Cut that out, moved it to the top, cut that out, moved it to the right. And when I was done with that, when I tessellated it, I thought it kind of looked like an animal coming out of the ocean, a seal or something. So I tessellated it across, and I would keep doing that. See how nicely it fits in? Using the top of the head as the reference point on the paper. Trying to keep everything nice and straight across my paper, okay? And like I said, I thought that's what it looked like. So I colored in or used my black liner for my detail and used my colored pencils to shade in and add some nice color. Okay, so those are some examples. I'm gonna upload some graph paper for you guys, 1 centimeter grid paper and 1/4 inch grid paper. And you can choose to use grid paper if you want, either size. Here's some examples of maybe some tessellations that you might make and use. You can do anything you want. It's nice to use the grid paper sometimes because it gives you those nice straight lines to go by. And then you cut that shape out and tessellate that across your piece of paper. So that's it. That's all I got for you. If you have any questions, please email me and feel free to ask. I miss you guys. Have fun with this assignment. Again, you don't have to do it, just if you want to. Stay safe. I'll see you later. Bye.